Okay, I'm picking up with the special rules number 4 in a section about, I don't even remember, BSA program. No, this is about CTRs, I'm sorry. The information supporting the status of exempt persons that are not listed businesses or payroll customers must be reviewed and verified at least once each year. The system of monitoring for the continuing eligibility of each customer must be reviewed. By the way, I'm on page 783 of the Reference Guide to Regulatory Compliance, BSA-AML section. A bank may treat a person as a governmental agency or department if that person's name reasonably indicates that it is such an entity. C. When determining whether a person is a listed business, the bank may rely on stock market listings published in a newspaper of general circulation or any commonly accepted or published stock symbol guide. On any information contained in the EDGAR system or on any internet site maintained by the NYSE, the AMEX, or National Association of Securities Dealers. D. When determining whether a person is a subsidiary of a listed business, the bank may rely on Roman numeral 1, any reasonably authenticated corporate officer certificate, Roman numeral 2, any reasonably authenticated photocopy of IRS Form 851, and Roman numeral 3, a person's annual report or Form 10-K as filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. E. When determining whether a customer is an exempt person, the bank may treat all transaction accounts of the person as though it were one account. F. A parent bank holding company may make an exempt designation for all its bank subsidiaries provided they are listed on the designation. G. A sole proprietorship may be treated as a non-listed business or a payroll customer if it otherwise meets all the requirements. H. Businesses engaged in the following activities may not be treated as a non-listed business for purposes of the BSA or any other activities specified by FinCEN. Serving as an agent of a financial institution of any type, purchasing or selling motor vehicles of any kind, vessels, aircraft, farm equipment, or movable homes. 3. Practicing law, accountancy, or medicine. 4. Auctioning of goods. 5. Chartering or operating ships, buses, or aircraft. 6. Gaming of any kind other than licensed pari-mutuel betting at racetracks. And 7. Providing investment advisory services or investment banking services. 8. Providing real estate brokerage. 9. Offering pawn brokerage. 10. Providing title insurance and real estate closing. 11. Engaging in trade union activities. I. Businesses in multiple activities may exempt if no more than 50% of their gross revenues derive from one or more of the ineligible business activities. J. Transactions carried out by exempt persons on behalf of another non-exempt person who is the beneficial owner of the funds are not subject to the exemption from reporting requirements. Subject to... Okay, if a bank files a report on an exempt person, a bank is required to meet all the filing requirements for the transaction. And L, if a bank improperly files an exemption, it may either Number 1, formally revoke such filing by filing a FinCEN Form 110 and checking exemption revoked, or Roman numeral 2, informally revoke it by filing CTRs on the customer. 5. Liability. Banks are not subject to any penalty for the failure to file a CTR on a transaction with an exempt person unless A. The bank knowingly files false or incomplete information with respect to the transaction or the customer, or B. The bank has reason to believe that the customer does not meet the criteria established for exempt persons. 6. Revocation of exempt person status. A. FinCEN may revoke the status of an exempt person by publishing a notice in the Federal Register. B. A listed business automatically loses the status of an exempt person if it ceases to be listed on an applicable stock exchange. And C. A subsidiary loses exempt person status if the exempt person ceases to own at least 51% of the subsidiary stock. 7. Suspicious activity. Nothing in the exemption rules relieves the bank of its duty to monitor for suspicious activity and file SARs when appropriate. 4. This is section 4 now. We've passed through CTRs, and now we're talking about reports of transportation of currency and monetary instruments. This is an area that nobody was getting right before these rules were revised in 2010, in my opinion. 1. Section A coverage. 1. Persons who physically transport monetary instruments of more than $10,000 into or out of the United States. A. Monetary instruments include Roman numeral I, currency. 2. Traveler's checks. Roman numeral 3. All negotiable instruments including checks, cashier's checks, promissory notes, and money orders that are in bearer form or are endorsed without restriction. Roman numeral 4. Incomplete instruments that are signed but with the payee's name omitted. And Roman numeral 5. Securities or stock in bearer form. B. Transporting monetary instruments includes Roman numeral 1. Mailing or shipping. Roman numeral 2. Aiding, abetting, counseling, commanding, procuring, or requesting that a financial institution or other person physically transport or mail or ship monetary instruments. 2. Persons who receive monetary instruments in the United States from outside the United States. Exemptions. 1. The filing entities are not required to file reports. A. Federal Reserve Bank. B. Domestic or foreign banks and brokers or dealers in securities, right? Do not have to file a monetary instrument shipped through the mail. C. Commercial banks and trust companies do not have to file a monetary instrument shipped overland and by an established customer that maintains a deposit account with the bank if the amounts are reasonably commensurate with the lawful conduct of the customer's business. D. A non-U.S. citizen does not have to file when mailing or shipping monetary instruments to a bank or broker or dealer from abroad. E. The common carrier of passengers or goods does not have to file on monetary instruments carried by its passengers or not declared by the shipper. F. Traveler's check issuers in delivering traveler's checks to its agents for sale to the public. G. Persons transporting traveler's checks that have been restrictively endorsed and that are in the collection process. And H. Persons whose business is currency and monetary instrument transportation when transporting between established offices of banks, brokers, or security dealers. And 2. Normal banking transfers not permitted, not involving the physical transportation of currency or monetary instruments are not covered. The reporting requirements. 1. Each person sending or receiving monetary instruments must complete a report of international transportation of currency or monetary instruments, CMIR, United States Customs Form 4790. Persons sending monetary instruments must file a CMIR at the time of entry into the United States. 3. Persons receiving monetary instruments from outside the United States must file a CMIR within 15 days of receipt of the monetary instruments. And 4. Only one report needs to be filed on a single transfer. All involved in the transfer are responsible for ensuring that at least one truthful, accurate report is filed, and 5 CMIRs are filled with the appropriate Bureau of Customs and Border Protection. 6. The duty to file a CMIR is only on the person sending the currency or monetary instrument. A bank is not obligated to file on its customer's behalf, even if the customer tells the bank of a shipment. Banks are responsible to file CMIRs when bank personnel send currency or monetary instruments. Section 5. Report on financial accounts. Coverage. Any person with financial interest or signature of other authority over a bank, securities, or other financial accounts in a foreign country. Does not include persons who are not U.S. citizens, residents, or domestic entities. 2. Financial account includes, among other things, accounts with assets are in a commingled fund where the owner has an equity interest in the fund, as well as debit and prepaid cards. Section B, reporting requirements. Report on a report of foreign bank and financial accounts FBAR form TD-F90-22.1. 2. A person with an interest of 25 or more foreign financial accounts does not have to file a detailed information on each account. 3. Report must be filed before June 30 for the preceding year if the aggregate amount in foreign accounts exceeds $10,000. And 4. Bank officers with signature authority over foreign accounts only in their capacity as bank officers do not have to file reports in their individual capacity. And 5. International interbank transfers account for or are not subject to these requirements but are subject to CTR and CMIR filings. Now, I feel that FATCA, F-A-T-C-A, I can't even tell you what it stands for, but I feel that it has something to do with, people's foreign bank accounts and, reporting taxes, because that's the bank's job, is to make the IRS money these days. But, I want to say that more than likely in the future you might see FATCA here, but, I have yet to read it, so that'll put on my list. Section 6, purchases of monetary instruments, covers any purchase of bank checks, drafts, cashier's checks, money orders, or traveler's checks for $3,000 or more in currency. Requirements: maintain the following information on purchases of monetary instruments for $3,000 and $10,000 in currency when the purchaser has a deposit account at the bank. A. Name of purchaser. B. Date of purchase. C. Type of instrument. D. Serial number of each instrument. And E. Dollar value amount of each instrument. And F. Verification of customer identity and method of verification. 2. Maintain the following information on purchases of monetary instruments for $3,000 and $10,000 in currency when the purchaser does not have a deposit account at the bank. A. Name or address of purchaser. B. Social security number, alien identification of purchaser. C. Purchaser's birth date. D. Date of purchase. E. Type of instrument. F. Serial number of each instrument. G. Dollar amount of each instrument. H. Verification of customer identity and method of verification. Method must be used for verifying the identity of non-depositors for check cashing purposes. 3. Special rules apply to elderly or disabled persons. Really? Banks may accept Social Security cards or Medicare and Medicaid cards along with another form of identification if the person does not possess the normally acceptable forms of identification. 4. A bank may institute a policy that requires customers who want to purchase monetary instruments to first deposit cash into their accounts. However, this does not relieve the bank from its responsibility to maintain the information required by this regulation. 5. Contemporaneous purchases by an individual must be treated as one purchase if the bank has knowledge of the purchases. 6. Must keep records for 5 years. Big Roman numeral, Section 7, Funds Transfers. Coverage: certain wire transfers, including fund transfers and transmittals of funds by financial institutions, transmittal orders, or payment orders from a person. Financial institutions, transmittal orders, or payment orders from a person instructing a financial institution to pay a certain amount of money to a recipient. To be covered by this rule: 1. The payment order must not state a condition to payment other than the time of deposit. 2. The receiving bank must be reimbursed by debiting an account of or receiving payment from the sender. And 3. The instruction must be transmitted by the sender directly to the bank, to an agent, or to a communication system for transmittal to the bank. Instructions may be transmitted orally, electronically, or in writing. Exemptions: the following funds transfers are not covered by these rules. Funds transfers governed by the EFT, A, Electronic Fund Transfer Act. Fund transfers made through an automated clearinghouse, ATM, or point-of-sale transaction. Fund transfers where the originator and beneficiary are any of the following: A, a domestic bank. B, a wholly owned domestic subsidiary of a domestic bank. C, a domestic broker or dealer in securities. D, a wholly owned domestic subsidiary of a domestic broker or securities dealer. E, the United States. F, a state or local government. G, a federal, state, or local government agency or instrumentality. Fund transfers where the originator and beneficiary are the same person, the originator or the same bank, and fund transfers less than $50,000.